You know that person who never posts anything, and yet somehow their life looks fine. Actually, more than fine. And if you're being honest with yourself, part of you wonders, are they onto something? Let's talk about what actually happens. The moment you decide to post something, you take the photo. Maybe you take 12 photos. You pick the best one, run it through a filter, write a caption, delete the caption, write a better one. Then you hover over the share button for a second longer than you'd like to admit. And in that pause, something is happening inside your brain that most people never examine. Your mind is running a calculation. Will people engage with this? That's not connection, and you're performing it dozens of times a week without even realizing it. The sociologist Irving Goffman described life as a kind of theater. We all play roles depending on who's watching. We wear different masks for different audiences. That's just human nature. But social media took that stage and made it infinite. Now the audience is everyone, everywhere, all at once, and the show never stops. People who don't post aren't antisocial. Here's something researchers have actually studied. Somewhere between 30 and 40% of people who use social media never post anything. They just scroll. Researchers call them lurkers, which sounds sinister but really isn't. Because when you look at the data, what's actually happening makes complete sense. The study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that the combination of social comparison, privacy concerns, and external pressure to post creates a specific kind of mental fatigue. Your brain gets exhausted trying to manage all of it simultaneously, so it shuts down the posting instinct entirely as a form of self-protection. Your brain, without you even asking, decided the math didn't add up. The cost of performing outweighed whatever reward came from it. Now think about the people in your life who rarely or never post. When you see them in person, are they withdrawn? If anything, they tend to be more present. They ask you questions instead of updating you on their highlights. And there's a reason for that. When you're not constantly thinking about how your life looks, you have space to think about how your life feels. That's not a small distinction. Psychologists talk about two different kinds of self. There's public self-consciousness, the ongoing anxiety about how others perceive you. And there's private self-consciousness, the quieter, deeper practice of understanding your own thoughts, values, and emotions. People who step away from posting almost always shift toward the second kind. They stop asking, how does this look? And start asking, how does this feel? And that shift changes everything about how they move through the world. But here's where it gets really interesting. Even if you don't post, just scrolling does something to you. Psychologists have confirmed that passive consumption of social media, just watching other people as their lives go by, still triggers social comparison automatically. You see someone's vacation, someone's promotion, someone's perfect kitchen renovation, and even though you know rationally that it's curated, that it's selective, that it's probably not even fully real, your brain doesn't care. The subconscious doesn't it just registers te ea more. People who opt out of social media entirely aren't running away from something. They're recognizing a game that was designed for them to lose and choosing not to play. Why would you voluntarily walk into a room where everyone has a professional lighting setup and a team of people making them look their best, and then compare yourself to what you see? There's also something worth noticing about the relationships these people tend to build. People who do UNT perform their lives online generally have fewer connections by number and deeper connections by quality. They'd rather have 6 people who genuinely know them than 600 people who follow them. And that trade-off, it turns out, is overwhelmingly the right one. Decades of research on happiness and well-being consistently find the same thing. The quality of your close relationships is one of the strongest predictors of life satisfaction. Not how many people know your name, not how many people double-tap your photos. Actual intimacy. Actual trust. The quiet ones tend to have more of that. Not because they're special, but because they put their time and attention somewhere other people don't. And this brings up something that rarely gets said out loud. Not posting isn't the same as hiding. Hiding means you have something to conceal. The people who do UNT post often have nothing to conceal precisely because they not constructing a version of themselves for public consumption. They're just themselves. The same person in every room, on every day. Whether anyone is watching or not, there's a kind of freedom in that. That's genuinely hard to explain to someone who has unit experienced it. When your sense of self isn't tied to how your posts perform, you stop rising and falling with every notification. Your mood stops being hostage to an algorithm. You exist at a steadier, quieter frequency. Researchers have found that people who rarely post tend to show higher baseline levels of self-esteem, not the loud, defensive kind, but the kind that doesn't need constant reassurance. Their confidence isn't borrowed from other people's reactions. It belongs to them. So here's the question worth sitting with. What if the people who don't post aren't the ones missing out? What if they opted out of the performance and into something more real? What if the silence is emptiness? What if it is just a life that doesn't need a caption to mean something? Because the most valuable moments rarely make good content. Anyway, the real conversations happen at 2 a.m. when nobody has their phone out. The real breakthroughs happen alone in rooms with no audience. The real connections happen in the pauses between words, in the moments that would never survive an edit. The people who don't use social media didn't lose anything.